Okay, hi everyone. It is I am back. As you can see, I have a very angry, much ignored girl for the entire weekend. That's right, Rafu was mostly ignored by me for reviews just so I could put out a kind of joke video, and you know what, I'm still pretty happy with that decision. So anyway, you guys, today we're also still not talking about Raf yet. I basically know what I'm going to say about Raf, and that she's excellent, and going into greater detail about that will happen. But first, global news, as it is Global News Day, and today we have a pretty big talking point. Hyoh as well. You guys actually have two 100 cost characters coming. You have both Rysol as well, or Rysol. Rysol? They actually changed it to an R. Okay, alright. Whatever. So, this is a chance for me to talk about both of these units, which of course I am very happy to do. Just going in, as you can see, obviously, I haven't finished this character yet because more important things have come along for my account, but I still feel incredibly sure about what I want to say. So first off, let's talk about her, Rysol. What is really good about her? What is really bad? And the answer is that really, I don't think anything is particularly that bad about her. Like, she is not a bad unit. She is actually a really good unit in a really strong element. And most of the time, that means good things, right? But the problem is that Wynn's PvP team is already so very good, right? Wynn has Sadali, who can do elemental, who can do re-raise, who can do like magic attacks, and all of that is very beneficial. Sorry, status attacks was the first thing I'm thinking. But then you have Joom. Joom's already an incredibly good tank, who's gotten even better with her 140. And last but not least, you have Fly Glassy, a unit who is still 120, who still competes with a lot of 140 units, and that's really scary because when she gets her 140, she's going to be even better. So you take a look at what Rysol can actually do that's really, really successfully strong, and she has single attacks that allow you to select multiple targets, which is a really, really, like, it's just one of the coolest abilities that you can have right now in the game, of being able to, like, choose multiple targets off of a single attack. I mean, that's just really good. It basically is just really strong, right? You can destroy barriers, and you can potentially, like, learn barriers into the EX, which is very good kind of thing. Like, all of this stuff is very powerful for Rysol, right? I'm not going to argue that. It's just that, simply put, Wind is already just so good, and why would you try pulling for another 100 cost character that you don't need? And that's the key word here. Need and want. Because this character does bring certain things very well to the wind element, and like a different source of healing and more just physical options on a entirely physical team. But when you take out Sadali's charm, when you take out some of the healing, the re-raise there, you need something else to greatly compete against that, and I just don't think that Rysol is quite there. She's very good for a wind elemental character, and for people who want to get her and max her and put her on a team just for some variety or change sakes. Guess what? You can do that, and do that pretty well. I mean, she also has, you know, fist style abilities, so she can synergize with Edward. You have Lancer type abilities, which can synergize with Fly Glassy, and you have slashing type abilities, which can synergize with Joom. So, I mean, this character is great across many different aspects. It's just what is currently there is already so good, and for most people, probably just waiting for, you know, Sadali, Fly Glassy, and Joom to get their 140s is good enough until a really, like, insanely much stronger character shows up. Because Yeah, I mean, I've used Rysol before, and I've gone up against Rysols over the last few months, and you know, it feels like a fair matchup. But this is a 140 limited time character that honestly, if I mean, it's just one of those things of being like, this is a lot of resources to put in a sea of 100 cost limited characters that are coming out, and I just don't think this is it. So Rysol is a great character. For some people, she will be a great addition, particularly people who might be missing Flag Glassy or Sadali, who want a alternative character for those spots. But for the most part, I mean, if you already have the Trinity of Wind, I don't feel like you're getting really too much better here, and Edward is coming with the Full Metal Alchemist, and at least he is primarily Fist, which is at least more interesting, in my opinion, as a alternative damage type for the Wind element, and, you know, maybe synergy with people who went with Tifa, maybe off my advice earlier, so yeah, sorry for the clearing of the throat, but been a long day, and my day, I still have quite a bit to record. Speaking of which, there is one other quick note, which I'm not going to put up on screen, which is the Sharpening of the Dragon's Talon, or Sharpening the Dragon's Talons, which is the new vision card that comes out next week to go with Rysol. And it looks like, I mean, that one's the Great Sword, Dagger, Mace, slash attack up, accuracy up, attack up, slash attack up, and area attack resistance. It also benefits Resnick and Resnick the Hoppy, and Resnick the Hoppy, which, you know, is a bunch of different benefits for, interestingly, some different characters from, like, kind of the character that this is coming out with. I mean, the Sharpening of the Dragon's Talons is great. I mean, it's essentially a physical vision card, but it's physical slash, and that will benefit some, but I think that vision card is not super important compared to what we're about to talk about next. So yeah, I'm going to say overall, I think Rysol is probably a pass, but only really, again, not a bad character. Just there's so many 100 cost characters, and is she good enough? I just think no. Now let's talk about the stranger one. First off, Hyoh being announced was a surprise a little while ago and made me reconsider what I was going to talk about. And now, God, there's some weird things going on here. First off, his artwork in here has a basic greatsword? What the hell? Where does he not have his own? Does he not? It's so bizarre to even see this kind of thing. Secondly, the sub jobs, not exactly super exciting. Lancer doesn't really have a ton of promise with fire right now, because, I mean, until a new fire Lancer comes along, probably not going to be much of a thing. As for Knight, I really don't hate as much as some people do, but neither of these jobs are really looking incredible. Like, there are better spear jobs, and there are better slashing jobs, so, I mean, there's something really weird going on, right? Whereas two subs don't seem that great. He's a 100 cost character, but apparently he's not limited unless this was a mistake. On the posting in-game, he is not an actual limited time character. So here's a couple things. First off, he could be massively overtuned in his main job. I mean, we've seen this before. I've seen, like, bad subs, but an incredibly great main job, and that usually can make up for it a lot of the times. I mean, having just, like, if the sub part of his main job is fine for abilities, he probably won't even care that much. So there's some red flags here, but not super concerning. Taking a look at Extreme Nova, Limit Burst, Ray Zone slash attack, piercing rate for 3 turns, deal 3 hit damage, AoE. I have to say, good range on this ability from what I can see. Also, just good effect and even a chaining effect on it as well. I think that those to limit burst is very strong. I mean, it was almost always certainly going to be AoE, but I'm a little disappointed that in that sense, just because, I don't know, I feel like AoE has taken a beating more in the future, where it seems like a lot of units are just stacking resistance against that. But this is a strong limit burst, a flexible limit burst, and a chaining limit burst, and all of those things are good. Phantom Blade significantly lowers reaction rate ability for 3 turns, and deals M damage, lowers healing power for 3 turns. So some interesting effects, especially if you're going up against a tank. Don't know if it's the most important thing because it's medium damage, but it isn't a large AoE, so it does have potential for certain things, and dealing with certain potentially strong healers and whatnot. Heat Drive destroys any barrier that reduces physical damage on target, and then deals large damage single target. Pretty good range on this. Don't think that this is anything too, like, wow or whatnot, but it does feel generally strong. So a couple of takeaways. Definitely a physical unit. I know that's pretty obvious, but needs to be said because I postulated that for some weird reason he could have ended up being magic to fit with some other magic characters. I mean, it really depends right now on the rest of his kit, because I'm not overly excited about Lancer or Knight. So I'm hoping that his main job will really pick up the slack in other abilities that he has. But even from what I'm looking at here, it just doesn't seem like he has dual elemental support at all, which kind of hurts his flexibility. I mean, maybe he could have had some lightning synergy here, but there's so many weird things about this where it's just not limited and whatnot. And in terms of the other thing that we need to talk about, the VC. Now, this is a job VC in order to change the world. Hey, there's Dark Fina. And interestingly, not pixel art, so nice artwork. Sword, Greatsword, and Staff. Equipable main jobs. Agility up, critical rate up, and magic attack resistance up. Bestowed effects, defense piercing rate, and attack up. For Hyoh, only acquired AP up, accuracy up, and for Rain and Dark Fina, magic up. So there's a lot of different possibilities just within the fire element of where this could potentially be useful. The Sword Warrior one doesn't strike me immediately as where else this could be useful. I mean, just looking at fire, if you were to put this on fire, what units? I mean, first off, you are Mont. Maybe Seymour plus Hyoh would be an interesting combination. It's not super cost limited if you were really looking for that aspect. Rain isn't really going to save you any cost and is very defensive, but then again, you're really looking for a certain unit to pull a lot of the weight on dealing damages. Let me just see here. Sword Warrior. The Yuffie card does share some synergy off of it, interestingly, for the acquired AP evasion rate, but Hyoh still has a lot to prove whether he could even be an evasion character. So, I mean, if that was the case and Hyoh's main kit does have a lot of evasion, then Yuffie would be a very natural fit for him. If not, this VC, I mean, you do get probably enough synergy off just Mont in him to be worthwhile. I mean, Staffs. I just don't know if I'm excited about Staffs. I mean, it's an agility uprate job card, which could mean like 18%, if I'm remembering from the... what's it called? From the... oh my goodness. Oh, I'm just blanking on it now. The collaboration that happened in JP recently. Full Metal Alchemist, the one that's coming up on Global. Yeah, that one was an 18% agility card. So this could be as well, if the numbers match and if that's how they decide to balance this thing. I mean, overall, Hyoh I think I'm getting a little bit of sensation of dark or the special shadow links that came out at Christmas time. Is something just doesn't seem uber powerful about him yet. So I would probably recommend that don't go immediately in on him if you are not a fan of the character. Then just wait, especially wait to see the data on him, because so far, I mean, yeah, him, his VC, and Mont all are a perfectly natural fit, and you could probably fit Rain in there for it to be okay, but I don't see really a ton of other stuff I'm super excited about. As for the VC for other elements, nothing particularly comes to mind. Like, I thought it would maybe there'd be something interesting that you could do with Lightning and Cloud in there in combination with this VC, but Lightning is not included in this group. So yeah, I'm coming back to this mostly being a Fire Elemental VC for the time being. There's some light potential in there, but I think the VC is mostly fire. So yeah, preemptively, I think that it's kind of just red flaggy about Hyoh. I'm just not sure whether he'll make the cut for another 100 cost character. This might be a good week to wait and see, but we'll take a look at his full kit once it's out. Thanks so much for watching. Take care. See you next time.